Welcome to the Offbeat Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the world of music and everything in it. My name is Rick, and I'm joined today by my wonderful colleague over here to my right, Xander with an X. And shout out to Eddie Saturn, who's on assignment. Today, filling in for him is our good friend and colleague, 413 Zone, Full Frame Media, Shannon.
Shannon with an S.
Shannon with an S.
Yeah, like that.
Sassy.
Thank you for joining us on this debauchery of a podcast or shit show, whatever you want to call it. It's always a good time.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the space, the superior quality, the great lighting. Guys, look at this backdrop. You see this? You see his quality?
Art.
Only at 413 Zone, Full Frame Media, LLC. I'm going to say it every time, 413 Zone, because Xander made sure that I said 413 that first time.
Heart of Springfield.
In the heart of Springfield.
Yeah. The Eastfield Mall. How better can it be?
The heart of Springfield.
Literally the heart of Springfield.
We're here.
Can we talk about malls real quick?
Yeah.
The dying soul of America.
What's your favorite mall growing up?
I mean, the Holyoke Mall, man.
My favorite mall growing up, Fairfield Mall. Whoever knows about Fairfield Mall back in the 90s.
Chicopee?
Yeah, it was like, you know what I'm talking about. We used to take the PBT. We used to have days. My mom used to get us dressed. We used to take the bus to Fairfield Mall. We used to have a ball. Love Fairfield Mall. Shout out to my mom for that.
Shout out to his mom.
Word.
Do you have a favorite mall, Shannon?
You know, I hate going to the mall.
Yeah.
But as an adult, the mall I appreciated is the mall in Natick, Mass.
I don't think I remember that mall.
It's a bougie mall.
Okay.
But they have like stores like Bose. You know, it's a bougie mall. We have Bose.
Nordstrom's. Stores, yeah, that's exactly it. When you start to see stores you're not familiar with, you're like, I'm out of my league here a little bit.
I never buy anything when I go there, but I like to know that I'm in a quality mall.
West Farms Mall is also a pretty nice one around here. Speaking of bougie.
They have a Nordstrom there too.
Yeah.
They have a P.F. Chang too, so that's another level.
Okay.
They're up there. They're up there.
Yeah.
P.F. Chang's for the finest Chinese food.
Trash. Last time I went to P.F. Chang's, it was in Puerto Rico. Worst choice I could ever make.
Wait, why would you go to P.F. Chang's?
P.F. Chang's while you're in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, unpack that, please.
So I was with my friends, Alexis. He lives over there. So they just wanted they wanted to get something nice. They wanted to take us out somewhere nice. They took us to P.F. Chang.
Wow.
I looked at him. I was like, man, I would have preferred in Puerto Rico to go to Carlito's Chinese restaurant around the corner.
Wow.
Yeah.
They did you dirty on that one.
It was trash.
Take me to Olive Garden instead.
Wow.
Top tier Italian gourmet cuisine. Yes. Do you see that? Meals by Couge. When he did the April Fools. That was genius. That was really good. Anyway, don't want to derail.
Shout out to Couge, by the way.
Yeah,
we need you on our show. We're going to have you on our show soon. Don't worry about it.
That guy makes crisp content.
Yeah,
content.
Very good.
So Shannon,
yes,
thank you again for filling in. We do appreciate it, man. Nice kicks, by the way.
Thanks, man. You sound light. I got the Nike socks, the Adidas sneaker. I just wanted to point that out.
Listen, I don't think anybody here is going to judge you except that guy, maybe.
I really don't care.
It happens.
It does happen.
It's okay.
Okay, this is a good question. The sneakers did distract me, so sorry, guys. Xander, what are your do's and don'ts? Okay, cue the music. Xander, what are your do's and don'ts of fashion? Like, just give me like top 3. You should never do this. Cardinal sin. You get comfortable.
Okay, do's and don'ts, cardinal sin when it comes to fashion.
So, okay, example. Maybe not the greatest one, but like wearing Nike socks with Adidas sneakers.
Yes. I mean, that's not really
It's mild.
that big of a deal. Yeah, it's mild. Open toe sandals with socks.
Oh, I'm guilty.
See, there's a lot of people that do
myself.
this.
I am guilty. That's also black dress shoes with white tube socks. That happens a lot.
Michael Jackson made that popular.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, sure. Michael Jackson. That's it. But anyways, that was like a huge thing in Christian society.
The white tube socks.
Penny loafers and white tube socks was a huge thing.
No way, dude.
Growing up.
Horrible.
Another one. What's another one, Shannon? Help me out here.
With what? With fashion?
Fashion no-nos. Let's be real judgmental here.
Okay. A belt with suspenders.
That's unnecessary.
Yeah, very.
So here,
But, go ahead.
I have a small anecdote. It's like third sidebar here. I worked with a colleague of mine. Who, we don't work together anymore, but he was like the king of like sales pitching catchphrases. So like when you want to update a quote, let me sharpen my pencil on that for you.
I had one of those.
Right. So he would say sometimes when he wanted to be thorough, he would say, we're going to take a real belt and suspenders approach to this. And we're going to make sure that this is, very thorough. Right. So it just, I just come like, man, he had so many. I have a couple written down in my notes. I'm not going to look them up, but I do have them written down.
I had a colleague like that when I worked in insurance. He worked in the cubicle next to me, so I heard him all day. I used to say often, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's the one I was like, it's not worth it. That's the one I used to say all the time.
Wow.
But there were a lot that he said. I'm like, you just have these just
On deck.
yeah,
I love it.
white people.
All right. So we got 2 sins so far. Give me a third one. I had belt and suspenders. It's not a
Capri pants for guys.
period.
There was I'm going back to the church thing again, where capri pants was the it thing. Almost every male in the church had capri pants. I'm not sure if you had a pair.
I didn't. I'm large, so I didn't take those risks.
It did not matter.
I was always
Old Navy
safe.
made so much money of church youth alone. So much money.
So great.
There was the capri pants. Just pretty much look like long shorts, but they had their time. So I would definitely say those.
So now that you say that, I've been seeing as of late in the fashion blogs, aka TikTok, that people are wearing regular jeans, but they're cuffing them up to show ankle. Technically, it's not a capri, but they're disguising it as a capri pant. But that's been fashionable lately. Are you saying are you shunning that too?
That actually comes from Japan, and I'm gonna tell you why I saw that from my friend who's out there in Japan lives. So he's very into fashion, and I remember I was seeing him with these big ass pants, and then they were rolled up at the end, just kind of to show the shoe, I guess.
Well, they're showing the shoe, the ankle,
Yeah,
all of it.
it was
So
a
you're
little
not
weird.
you're not saying a cuff the way that you would cuff some jeans. You're saying kind of rolled up.
Blown, yes.
Yeah, full.
Wow.
You're showing like above the ankle.
Yes. Again,
Now I've seen it like the way I've seen it, the entire getup. I'm like, okay, I don't think I can. I don't have the confidence to pull that off. Because if you're gonna wear that, if we're gonna wear anything, you have to have full confidence.
Oh yeah.
that's yes. First, and
But
foremost.
like the people I've seen wearing it, they'll have like nice shoes. I've seen like dress shoes.
Yeah.
And no socks, just ankle leather.
yeah,
See, that's the thing about. Okay, so earlier, very briefly, I don't think actually we got this on the pod on the last episode. We briefly talked about Lenny Kravitz, and we talked about his status as like a rock legend or an icon of like music. And that dude is super stylish, right? And so you talk about confidence, wearing whatever you want to wear. Like there's the famous photo of him wearing like literally a blanket as a scarf, because it's this giant scarf around his neck, and it's just like casually walking down New York, like no big deal. Yeah, this is what I would normally wear on a normal day. So to your point, Shannon, about okay, the current trend is we're gonna go chino style like capris. Who decides? Actually, yeah, that's really cool. Let's just jump on this train, and like people just morph into the same. Like the psychology behind that is fascinating.
I think who decides it is it's weird, but I think Lenny Kravitz can get away with something like that because he's an artist.
Yeah.
When you look at the stuff Lenny Kravitz wears and the stuff that Russell Westbrook wears, they're pretty much competing with each other. But who gets ridiculed more? Westbrook, because he was a basketball player, not an artist.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know who decided. I guess people just wear it. 2-3 people were like, I dig it.
Right.
I'm gonna wear it too.
And then it becomes a trend all of a sudden.
But like what he mentioned, the Japan stuff. Japan, I see a lot of the fashion that Japan does. It comes maybe like next year.
Yeah.
Like the stuff they're wearing in Japan now, we'll start seeing people wearing it next year over here.
And like you're saying, because right now the whole roll-up thing, they've been doing it over there in Japan. So I think that's one thing that I'm seeing. And they're going back to the baggy jeans, too, in Japan. They're wearing baggy jeans again. Hopefully that doesn't get over here. That was a trend, I think, that needs to leave.
The whole baggy look is coming back, too. If you look at Billie Eilish,
Yeah.
what she wore to the Grammys last night, she had a full, like, overgrown, like, an oversized T-shirt, baggy pants. And she wore it the whole time. I was like, she's wearing a T-shirt in the Grammys.
Yeah. Yeah. It must be nice to just not care. See, my take on this is like always, I try not to be judgmental, but kind of just approach it like from an objective standpoint of fashion is always going to be like a moving target, right? So like, even if what you're wearing right now is trendy or it's in or it's fashionable, like tomorrow it's trash. And it literally is that fast, right? So there's like a whole, you got people who do a lot of thrifting, right? Find a lot of gems, vintage stuff. People are way into that. And then you have other people who are like the, I forget what the phrase is, but like the H&Ms of the world, that it's like, here's a $4 t-shirt and a $10 pair of pants that will fall apart in 2 to 3 days, right? They're just churning out these hyper, fashion trends, at the cost of like slave labor, right? Like someone's making this. Sidebar. 5, 6, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys. Shannon's on the podcast, so we get to do whatever we want. So I watched a movie called Ascension.
I haven't seen it.
Guys. Ascension.
Like ascending.
Netflix
It's
or
on.
movies?
It's on. I might be wrong on this. I want to say I saw it either on HBO Max or Paramount Plus, one of those two platforms. The premise is, like, how many things have you bought in your life that say made in China? They literally are showing you all the shit that is made in China and like the human at the end of the thing making like, Velcro strap, making a million versions of these, like the most mundane, but like it was just a lens into that world that I was just like not prepared for, but done very beautifully. Cinematography is amazing, like amazing storytelling. Highly recommend. It's called Ascension. Definitely check it out. High fashion. I'm reeling it in. Fashion, slave labor, humans.
Go hand in hand.
Yep. And so now we're back at fashion trends.
Shout out to slave labor. No, shout out to that.
You know what, man? It's tough, right? Because like on the one hand, you don't want to, dress like you're completely out of touch or you've given up. On the other hand, like, what's the trade-off? Sustainable.
Yeah, that's gonna fall apart. It's the sustainable stuff.
Yep.
My brother, shout out to my brother, he has a coffee shop. He uses the cardboard straws. I hate them.
They're so bad.
I hate them because if you don't drink that drink in 5 minutes, you're gonna be sucking on sloppy cardboard.
Oh, thank you for cardboard. Yes. Keep going.
That was
so sustainable stuff. I mean, I appreciate the as much as I can. I'll do sustainable stuff.
Yeah.
But the inconvenience sometimes supersedes.
When it comes to that, the whole fashion that you think we're talking about, Lenny Kravitz, there's guys like him, Michael, and Prince that they can wear whatever they want. Mm-hmm. There's no fad in their fashion. It's just they wear whatever they want and they wear it and they don't really care. Like they don't really follow anything. And I think those are the guys that kind of make the fads. Like for example, Kanye. Today I'm gonna wear, because he's been wearing the same stone black jeans, like those off jeans, the boots, and some black either jacket or hoodie for I don't know how many months now.
Yeah.
So it becomes, to me, with Kanye, this is my personal opinion, I think he's trolling. it gets to the point when it comes to fashion, he's just saying, how far can I go and get away with it?
Yeah.
Because some of this stuff, you look at it. I mean, me, for example, I look at it and go, what is this? Like, people really like, and people really go buy it and they wear it and they make it a fad. And I don't get it. But, again, it's one of those things that Kanye starts that. And it comes from him.
See, that, I feel the same way about the Supreme brand. Like, the exclusivity, you know, there's one of these, you know, this one thing here, but it's got the Supreme logo, and now it's like $15,000, you know. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. I guess at that point it's kind of a collectible, right? So it's like it turns into from an object into some sort of art piece, right? Where the value is in the beholder. Like, it's like, well, this is important to me. It is worth $15K. It is worth $25K, right? You know, rock NFT, is it worth? No, it's not. But like, somebody paid whatever money that was. I don't know.
You're right. But when it comes to Supreme, this is the part that I'm a little interested in. That there used to be a skateboarding brand. Well, it still is. Not used to be. That's what it started from. So the fact that it went from a skateboarding brand to pretty much high fashion.
Wow.
I've never actually seen that before in fashion.
Is it considered high fashion now?
The reason why I say high fashion is because if you buy something from Supreme, you're spending high fashion money.
Yeah.
It's a T-shirt nowadays is $300 and something for a Supreme.
That's wild.
Shirt. That's what I'm saying. For us, it's wild, but for them, it's like, yeah, Supreme. It's like,
Supreme,
no, that's
right.
wild. So, and like you said, you can put whatever motorcycle, and it's a Supreme motorcycle. It's gonna cost 5 to 10 times more than the original price. So that's what I'm saying. They have I don't know how they did it, but their brand has been up there with the high fashion prices. It's not high fashion clothing, but the brand, you can throw it out there with like high fashion.
This is interesting to unpack, because when you talk about a brand, right, just a brand, right? So like, if I wear a T-shirt that's from H&M, a white T-shirt, it costs me maybe $5 to $10. If I buy that T-shirt at Old Navy, maybe it's $20 for whatever reason. Oh, it's $20. Same white T-shirt with a Supreme logo on it, $300. Kanye, same thing. Nike, $50, $70, $80. So like, the power of brand, Louis Vuitton.
Exactly.
Like, what is that, and what is it about us that makes us willing to, right? Not us specifically, but us as humans, like, willing to be like, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this backpack that says Louis Vuitton on it.
Status.
Yeah, it's all flexing.
Just so it's all literally just all flexing.
I think so. Yeah. I think status and flexing is a real thing with a certain, like, it's part of a culture already. I think it is part of a culture that if you're gonna be an it person, you gotta wear certain things. You gotta live, and it's a lot of that has to do with social media, because a lot of the time it's just wearing it. Maybe they're taking it off and say, "Hey, thanks for letting me wear it." So it really don't even know if it's theirs. But so I think a lot of it has to do, like you said, status and clout. So it's just flexing. And in reality, I think that's just what it is.
Sad.
Yeah, it's big on the status stuff. I mean, when you remember back in the day when the iPhone became popular.
Oh my God, dude.
I have an iPhone.
Yeah. It was definitely
a status, status thing.
Absolutely.
Definitely status symbol.
So I think when it comes to like the clothing, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, right now, I bet you this weekend, if you go down to Worthington Street, you're gonna see about 25 people with the front of their shirt tucked in so you can see their Gucci belt.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not a status move, like, what is it?
I don't want to, like, throw shade at those people.
Well, let's do
it. Rick is not that person at all. Like, I like to dress comfortably, and depending on where I'm at, I might be a little extra some days, Oh, we're going to a party? Let's be a little extra. Why not? Have a little fun. Which was not, younger Rick. Younger Rick was tame by comparison. But that's a different story.
Yeah.
I get that dressing stylish when you're going out somewhere is cool, but like dressing stylish, but also I want to make sure that you know what I'm wearing. Look at my clutch that I'm carrying around. Like, bro, I'm going to go off the rails. Fully off the rails on this, guys.
We're here. We're going off beat. plug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we talk about all the girls that look exactly like Kim Kardashian? Why are you guys all trying to look like Kim Kardashian or some sort of? I don't get it.
Unfortunately.
Why do you have to look so fake? What is that?
Status.
Again, status.
The funniest thing, man. The funniest thing is that these women are getting their bodies done to impress somebody,
other women,
right?
Yeah,
other women.
Like other women.
Let's say men. We'll say men, but they're still getting cheated on with guys that look like them before they got the surgery.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one, man.
And again, look, you do whatever you want to do with your body.
Sure.
Don't catch feelings with this subject, please.
Do it, queen.
Do what you want to do. We're just men telling you, hey, you don't have to. But if you want to do it, go. But you don't have to. Because I think the reason why these girls do it is because other girls' pressure. I don't think it's men's pressure.
I don't think it's us. I really don't think it's us.
I think it's pressure that they create within themselves. I'm just telling you, man, you don't have to.
I think the funniest thing about that now is that when you look at, I don't want to say Kim, but actually the Kardashians, I feel like they've been setting the trend for women for the last 15 years.
Unfortunately, yes.
Right? 15 years. I think if I'm not mistaken, Khloe might have gotten a reversal of her BBL. She's going real slim. So it'll be funny now that they set this trend and now they go the opposite way. And now all these women that got their body done and look like whatever, because unfortunately some of them don't look nice because they got it for the Lolo in Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And it looks like they just got stuffed with motor oil. But now the reversal. Hey. All that to say though, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Shout out to the American Republic though. That's not your fault. It's women's fault.
Nah, it's their fault.
Shut.
It's their fault. They know. They're like,
hey, they made a killing, and they still are. But back to the brand thing, because I want to make sure I don't forget this, because some people might might listen to this. I'm not calling Supreme a high fashion. It's still street fashion. It's high fashion prices. So I know people are gonna be like, whoa, what are these guys just say? Yo, not high fashion.
I like the distinction.
High fashion prices. It's still a street brand.
I would say to the conversation you were talking about that, like why people buy these things and why do they see value in it. I use myself for an example. I have these shoes. These shoes they're pretty pricey. The resale part of it is pretty pricey. But I admit that a part of the reason that I buy some of the stuff now that I buy that could be pricey is because growing up, I couldn't buy any of that stuff. Yep. Like, my mom used to take me to Sears to get sneakers.
Yep.
And that's after I complained because I was getting bullied because I was wearing Payless shoes. So my mom was like, all right. I was like, can I at least get some Nikes? Yep. So we go to Sears and get Nike running shoes. I'm like, at least, I got name brands. Yep. So sometimes I buy stuff now because I can. I'm like, I'm gonna buy these Jordans that I never had. Sometimes I get a little excessive, but
I mean that's legit. That's legit. Like, and I think this is a good contrast, right? Because like I'll spend money on gadgets. And I know we talked about this previously, but like gadgets, high fashion, plastic surgery. It's like a big jump. Right, we're elevating it to like now you're changing your physical appearance right, because we're talking about like trends, we're talking about like things that are in, like I forget, it was on Reddit. It was like this was actually amazing to watch. Somebody like restored a very old like makeup container. I don't know what it's called, but it was like a very like vintage looking thing and it had multiple different colors and it was like messed up. And the person like healed every little circle where there was different colors and stuff, whatever. So
I think I saw that.
But it was just like going back to like, the 60s or 70s when like women are starting to like, women empowerment, and like feminism is kind of like starting to break through, individuality, right? So we're starting to see these trends where women are like trying to like make themselves an individual of sorts, to not be just, I'm not a housewife, I'm not just a mom, I'm a person, I'm a woman, I have a career, I'm fully on board, big successful women. Like I completely endorse that. Like the thing that I struggle with as a dude, as a man, is why the need to metamorphosize yourself in that way, right? Like I get maybe you want to be slimmer. I don't know. Maybe I'm going off the rails a little bit too hard here, but like,
go ahead.
Give me more words for metamorphosize.
Okay, a boob job, butt implants. What's this right here?
Lip injections.
The lip injection. I forget what it's called.
Botox.
Botox. Thank you. Eyebrow, like just a nose job, like just all sorts of different stuff. Like I don't know. Like I guess I know it sounds like I'm being super judgmental. I'm just trying to understand the psychology of why you feel like you need to do that.
I'll give you my take, and it's from a unique perspective. People don't like the way they look, just plain and simple. Every day I photograph people, and the hardest part about photographing people is when I meet you, I see you. I don't know what your insecurities are. Mm-hmm. So when I take a picture, and for me the lighting looks good, I'm like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
Because I saw you the way everyone sees you. But when I show someone the picture, they're like, oh. It's like, what do you mean, oh?
Yeah.
So then
this is amazing.
So lately what I do is like, all right, let me identify, does my photo look bad, or do they not like the way they look? Like, what is it? So in a sense, I've had to learn how to kind of identify that by asking more questions. But what it comes down to, a lot of people just don't like the way they look. And it could be the smallest thing. I had a guy come in one time that he didn't like. I took his picture, and what I've done is when I take a picture, I show them back of the camera, what do you think? So like that, I can get a sense of what they're saying. Everything was fine. I get an email saying that he didn't like he's self-conscious about his nose. I think he got a car accident or something like that, but his nose was a little crooked. Again, when I saw him, that's what I saw. I try to work with it, but he asked me to come in again to do photos again. So it's like people just are self-conscious, and if they get a little bit of money, they're gonna look for that happiness.
Wow.
And which is crazy. I think it comes down to like a mental health thing, which is like, how do you heal that? How do you work on that?
Shannon, that's well said, man.
No, yeah, that's actually a good take, because you obviously see it from a different point of view and different eye, not no pun intended, because you're a photographer. So you're looking at it more from a photographer view rather than, this isn't a model shoot or a photo shoot for you to, let me look at your best angle. This is just, be you type of thing, and let me do my job to make you look better. So when you say that the better to them is still not enough, it's definitely, I think it's a mental health issue right there. Yeah. That's something that's serious, because it's like, this is you. There's no me fixing you. This is going to be you, and you have to understand that this is who you are. And I think that's when it gets to that point. It was like, no, I don't like who I am, so now I'm going to have to get something to like who I am. Wow. And I think that's the part that is, like you're right about the mental health,
which is crazy. It's crazy. And I think everyone has insecurities. Some people have it. They're high levels of it. Mm-hmm. I think if you look at anyone's phone that's taking a selfie, that cares about a selfie, they've probably taken 20 selfies. Yes. That one picture. So I think everyone has it.
Oh yeah.
Some people just take it overboard and like, I'm gonna fix that. Mm-hmm. So it's
permanently.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
The scary part about that is that they can actually look worse because either for whatever reason, bad surgery, whatever. Yep. So then now, Michael Jackson, we'll use him as an example. He got his nose job, the first one. It was fine. Like when he was still dark, he got his nose job. It looked good, but then
kept doing
20 years later, he had no nose. So it's like that's a mental health thing at that point. Maybe not a mental. Maybe that sounds crazy, but it's a. I don't know what other word to use.
No, I don't think it sounds crazy at all. I think that is because again, you're talking about your self-esteem and you're not liking your own self. That definitely has to do something with your mental. So I definitely think it's mental health, especially when you're young, when you're really young and your body hasn't really fully developed, and you're already thinking about doing something to you like that. That to me is scary because you see it a lot, especially with females and their weight. They always feel like they have to be slim for some reason. They have to follow this model. It's because of, like you said, it has to do with this Kardashian because they become the status quo now for girls on how to look. And it's crazy because, again, they look crazy. And it just, because you know what I'm talking about. So when it comes to that, I think it has to come from the individual, the girls themselves. We can't say something to them. It's like, hey, don't do that. Like, what? Yes, I want to do my body. Yes, I want to do my butt. Yes, it was like whatever they see that they think is gonna make them look better, they're gonna do it. They don't give a damn about what a guys definitely say.
Right. They definitely don't care what we have.
No,
to say.
and we see it a lot in social media. I was like, guys think they could tell us this, and we're like, we're not. We're not trying to tell you anything. We're just saying how we like you. There's a lot of guys out there that like that type of body, but they don't really like you. They just like that type of body, and that's what the guy you want to be with. Then good luck. That's my point.
I have some data.
Please.
So there's a term called body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia disorder.
Yeah.
A mental illness involving obsessive focus on a perceived flaw in appearance. The flaw may be minor or imagined, but the person may spend hours a day trying to fix it. The person may try many cosmetic procedures or exercise to excess. So this is also true in males.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Bodybuilders in particular.
Yes.
Like just never satisfied with how they look, just always trying to like achieve peak greatness over and over and over again. It's apparently super common, more than 200,000 U.S. cases per year. Treatment can help, but this condition can't be cured, requires a medical diagnosis, lab test, or imaging not required, and chronic can last for years or be lifelong. So it's definitely a real thing that humans struggle with.
Yeah. And what's the fix for that? I mean, they said there's no therapy, right?
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, therapy, but I think your partner, the person you're going to be with, is going to be a huge help for who you are because that person's going to see you every day. That person's going to beat you every day. So if you know that person has, I don't know, let's just say that he has a big forehead or she has a big forehead. You can't say anything about that person's forehead. Because the moment you say something, and even though if you think it might be funny and haha, honey, come on, it's just us, you could really send that person down the wrong path. Some people could take a joke.
Take my wife's name out of your mouth.
Thank you for the gateway. I just threw it up. See if you could.
Take my wife's name. Oh man, yeah, that. I almost don't even want to touch it, but I will just say this. You know, it's unfortunate that like all of like the childhood heroes have come like crashing down over time. Like what's that famous line from The Dark Knight? It's like you live, you know, I'm gonna mess it up. Something about like you live long enough to you eventually become the villain.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Bill Cosby, canceled. Michael Jackson, canceled. Fresh Prince.
He's not canceled.
He's working on it though.
Nah, not really.
He's working on it.
People will forget about this next week.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Let's look at last summer.
Okay.
The Baby said some egregious things about gay people. He got canceled, got taken off tours, but nobody talking about that now. And he said, when you attack the LGBT community in 2022, you are getting canceled galore.
Yeah.
And if no one's talking about that stuff now, Will Smith can come back from slapping Chris Rock.
Speaking of reactions.
Whoa!
Here we have, ladies and gentlemen, the coveted finally making an appearance
Thank you very much.
on the podcast. You asked for it. Here it is. Let's go ahead and put this on, guys. Let me do it proper. Wow. Here we have the street football jersey, guys. The Outsiders.
What a classic look.
Burgundy. Okay. It's short. Okay,
top.
short on purpose to prevent the reaching, to prevent grabbing
This
the
is-
jersey.
this
You
is
got
how
to
they
keep
used
it
to be.
short. And then
What's this?
You know, if you wore that with some yoga pants, you'd have a look.
Shannon,
You'd have a look.
you know what? I'll
Yoga
see what I can
pants.
do for you.
Yoga
Not for me.
pants.
The Outsiders. So Nemesis with an apostrophe, not Nemesis, because Nemesis is too long. So you got to go with Nemesis.
I like it.
That was the street football name, you guys.
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's a great jersey.
That's vintage.
This is as vintage as it gets. This is
Yeah.
probably from '98.
Yeah.
Bro,
It looks like
this
it's
is an XL and it's a crop top. Okay, XL.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. Just for you. It only took several months. People complaining.
Appreciate it.
I hope you're happy, guys.
He's got it.
I got one question before we wrap it up. I got a
Knock
hypothetical for Shannon.
it. Button
Because I
up.
know he's a huge Fred Hammond fan, right?
Yes.
Huge Fred Hammond fan. Hypothetical. Here's a Christian versus. It's Fred Hammond versus Marvin Sapp. Who's taking this?
Fred
I
Hammond.
can't see. Of course, he's gonna
Fred
say Fred
Hammond.
Hammond. But give Marvin Sapp his flowers. He has a lot of hits for the Christian world.
Yes, but when you think of hits, he got hits, got great songs. Never would have made it, classic song. But when you look at the stuff that Fred Hammond did to worship culture in general,
Talk about it, because I don't know.
gone. So Fred Hammond, he started off with a boy band, Christian boy band, commissioned.
Commission. Amazing.
Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp, two others.
So they were in the band together.
They were together. They were in there,
Did not know that.
killing it.
I also didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
I knew about Commission. I knew about Fred Hammond.
I'm pretty sure Marvin Sapp was like 90% sure.
Okay, I'll take it.
So actually, it's funny you say that because I just saw an interview up with Fred Hammond, so he was talking about all this stuff, and he was saying that they were taking off the group commissioned, and he pretty much got kicked out of the group because he was getting too big for the group, and they basically sat him down and was like, "Hey, it's not going to work out," and he got kicked out. So then. They were talking about creating an album for him. It was like jealousy and all that stuff, typical group stuff. So he started his own thing, and he was really struggling with what do I do? Like I got used to doing with the group. So Black church before what worship looks like was full choir singing. It was a choir singing, everyone singing congregationally. White people church was kind of just a group of people singing, a smaller group, Hillsong, like
Yeah.
5 people singing all together. So, long story short, what Fred Hammond did, he mixed the two, white church, black church. Now that's one person leading the band, what typically worship looks like now, and then you have an ensemble in the back supporting. So that's when he came out with his albums, Purpose by Design, which is a hit.
Classic.
Which he had a choir mix in there, but
Radicals for Christ.
yes. So if you look at how that came out, and then you look at right after Israel Houghton came out,
Yes.
I'm skipping a lot of years, but Kirk Franklin,
Donnie McClurkin?
they were right, Donnie McClurkin. They were doing the same stuff, but now I feel like Fred Hammond was transitional to that move to what worship looks like now, which is
Dude,
a little different.
I love Fred Hammond, bro. Like I still I follow him on Instagram, and he's still that dude. I like that he's super authentic constantly. Like he doesn't pretend to be like this perfect person. Like he just keeps it real all the time. And he's still doing music. He's still super talented, and that dude for me as a young man growing up, super big influence, 100%, super big influence. Same with Kirk Franklin. There was a great man, an amazing video. I want to say it might have been the BET Awards, like Kirk Franklin's acceptance speech from like 90s, early 2000s. It's very old looking. Like you could tell by the suits that they were wearing. Like he goes like full tilt, like gospel preacher, like, and he kind of storms off like speaking in tongues and whatnot. But it's like epic, bro. Like his energy is like through the roof, and the entire crowd. Because like that's the thing I love about like black people, the black community is just like church is so intrinsic to the culture. Like you cannot take it away. And even people who like do whatever, like wherever they end up in life, church is still like the nucleus, the backbone of the thing that they launched from. And so there's always that, like, you pay respect to God, and do the thing. And so when he's accepting, he's taking, he's accepting this award or whatever, and he's just, shouting out God, and just everyone's just like stands to their feet because the energy is so high. Like that's the one thing about like gospel music, man, is like you cannot. So okay, Hillsong and like Kirk Franklin, New Nation, right? 90s, right? The volume that they're singing at. These people are yelling basically. They're like projecting into the microphone versus just like singing into the mic at a reasonable volume. Like I just, you can't ignore that. Like that's why I really enjoy like the Kanye Sunday service stuff. They're going in. They are going in. They're singing, dude.
Yeah,
they're not messing around, man. And I love it. I love it, man.
They kill it. I think I'm Fred Hammond had a huge impact in the way that I sing, or that I lead worship. Growing up in church, what worship looked like growing up was very bland. It was they had what they called the salmistas. Yes. Oh no, the levitas.
Oh wow, man.
Yes, the salmistas were the younger cats that came in. But they were singing old school Spanish power ballads.
Shannon, I'm getting triggered, man.
And but so young guy sitting there. My mom's into it. That's my mom's generation. The power ballads in there. I was just like,
young.
Yeah. Although they still got some hits,
undeniable.
But as a youngster, I'm just like, man, but this is boring. So like I started listening to Fred Hammond, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, this is different than what I'm like doing. Mm-hmm. So I remember the first time I sang like a solo at the church, I did a Fred Hammond song, and I don't know. All I remember from that time was that what I saw from worship was a very bland, I'm going to sing into the mic, very calm, no movement, very reverent.
Yep.
And I don't know if I saw, because there's no YouTube at the time, so I don't know, I must have saw it on TV or something, but I'm like, I'm going to sing this song. I'm going to like express it. I was like maybe like 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. And then the church was going crazy.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is a little bit different. So then I was in Fred Hammond. Now, of course, I've always been a big guy, so little Fred Hammond. Yeah. So I remember like that's the beginning of like worship leading. That style of music I was in.
Wow.
And that's Fred Hammond. I don't really consider him gospel. He's like contemporary gospel.
Yeah. I mean, could you say?
Well, his stuff was more gospel than like Israel Houghton is more contemporary gospel.
Yeah. Okay.
If that, because
but also I think that's generational, right? Because then you got like Southern Baptist gospel, which is like, don't tell it on the mound, like the real classic stuff, right? But it's gospel music, right?
Yeah.
But like, and this is like, I'm gonna just say it. The way that culture influences art, cooking, music, like when you talk about Latin music and the energy that they put into the music, the passion that they put into it. Like I don't. This isn't a black or white thing. It's not a black or white thing. It's a energy, a flow. It's the flow thing, right? So like when you are authentically delivering whatever it is that you're outputting, people feel that, man. They 100% feel it. And that is the gift. It's not what you're saying, it's not what you're playing. It's your heart's expression of what you are delivering is what is the music, right? Whether it's an instrument or whether it's vocals, that's what people feel, right? So like when somebody's doing like a sick run, did they do it just because they're so gifted that they're bored out of their minds doing it? Or like, did they deliver that so passionately and heartfelt that you like stand to your feet because your body like reacted in such a way? Like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. I love that, dude. Yeah.
There's the authenticity is the biggest part. I mean, I think you can, people do things a certain way. I think if you were to go back in time, knowing what you know now, knowing I know all of Elvis's songs and all his moves, what if I can go back in time? I'm like, I'm going to do everything Elvis did before he did it. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't be as successful because Elvis, although I think he was whack, he put a lot of his own, stuff into it. Yes. So it's the authenticity that really sells it. It pushes it forward.
Yeah.
That's why I think, when you look at like all the popular artists now, they have that authentic part of them that really propels them.
I think forward. That's what makes an artist great. And I think, to bring it back, like Fred Hammond, he did come across as authentic. He was a very talented singer. He was a talented musician. That guy could slap that bass, bro. And I like, and the same is true for me growing up listening to a lot of Kirk Franklin and listening to that music and the lyrics and the choirs, right? I get that same energy from the Kanye stuff, which I think is why I like the Kanye stuff, the Sunday Service stuff, is because it strikes that same like nostalgia in me of listening to that stuff when I was growing up, of like these massive choirs, but like everyone knows their part really well. And everyone individually is an amazing singer. So then you have this group of amazing individual singers in a room together singing, in unison or in harmony. And you're just like having all this harmony wash over you. And you're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
People are going to respond to what they feel connected to the most. I remember my church now, we do an all English service, all Spanish service. And for a while I was leading worship at both English and Spanish. But if you look at the people in each services, like I would say the median age in our English services is like mid 30s, like that's like the median, like mid to late 30s. But if you go to the Spanish service, you're looking at like a median age of like 45. Mm-hmm. So we found out that singing the songs that the younger people like in the Spanish service wasn't really like rocking. Like people were kind of like, oh yeah, like they were participating. But then, one day I was like, all right, let's throw in, one of the old school songs for them. So we'll do like a new age song, but then we'll throw in like a
classic.
Oh my God. But not like even like the whole song. We'll just throw it in there like in a medley of something else. Yep. And then then we started getting the buy-in of everybody. I was like, okay, we just got to bring them in. But they would just,
dude. That makes me so happy, man.
That song, that's old school.
That is. There's so much there, man. We could spend hours talking about that, man. Because I mean, I grew up in church. Shannon, I'm assuming you grew up in church. Jose.
Jose.
That's a whole nother sidebar, but we're not gonna get into that right now. But also grew up in church, right? So there's like a common thread, and I think a lot of to the earlier point I made about foundational data, right? Like we all have a common thread, and that's like where we built our lives from. That was like the worldview that we grew up from, and so it influences a lot of our decision making. Maybe not as much today. Maybe it does. For some people, maybe not as much for other people. But there's always stuff to learn from spending time with people, and I think that's for me why I enjoy doing this, is because having the opportunity to have dialogues with people from different places, right? I think is super important because I think the one thing that, and I'll speak for myself on this, the one thing that I lacked from church community was a different voice, right? Because it was a lot of homogenous takes and everybody sounded very similar. And that's not to throw shade at Christian folks or anything like that, but it's just how it was, right? And so getting to listen to people from different walks of life, I think adds more color and more value to how you view the world, instead of just very narrowly looking at one thing, looking at it with maybe just a little bit wider of a lens. Cameras, full frame media.
413.
Any final thoughts? I know we're running a bit long here.
Shout out to Will Smith.
Shannon, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming on.
Smith movie.
Xander, thank you as always for being.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys.
Please drop a like if you can, share, do all the stuff, do all the social media stuff. I don't know how many times people have to be told like, "Hey, hit the like button." Like, the drill, guys.
Costs you nothing.
Just
love.
Hit that thing, share it,
Smash it.
helps us out. Grow the community. Subscribe. Check out the pod on the audio only version of the podcast that we'll have up. We're getting these out pretty quick nowadays. We're trying to bang them out, shortly after we record them. So a couple days, 1-2 days, boom, publish. And that's it. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.